Thanks very much. I think this has been a great hearing. I think that we have moved the ball forward in improving a bit our institutional understanding of a phenomenon that is really beyond any of our full understanding, but that we urgently need to grapple with nonetheless. Ms. Moat likened AI to electricity and being what she called an arrival technology. Ms. Rafelbehr noted that the arrival of AGI, artificial intelligence, could be coming sooner than has been thought. This is defined differently by different people, but generally refers to a system that develops capabilities that exceed human capabilities across any domain. And the conversation about this has been largely limited to the leading labs and those who follow them, but it's something that we all need to be part of throughout the country, given the profound impacts it's going to have on all of our lives. But today specifically, we've gotten a window into how the possibilities offered by AI in education, and I think the main takeaway today is that those possibilities really are boundless. Mr. Chisholm noted that education is often the last to change when it comes to technology, or perhaps really anything else, but that really can't be the case here. Because I think we already know enough to know that those schools, those districts, those states that adopt and integrate AI in the right ways are going to do very well by their students, and are going to propel student success, and are going to outperform those jurisdictions that don't. And by the way, in other countries like China has been very focused on this topic, and so our global competitiveness is at stake as well. Of course, in order to do this effectively, we do need to have professional development, which is why I think what Mr. Chisholm has been doing throughout Mississippi is fantastic. That supports teachers. We learned today that most teachers still aren't getting training when it comes to integrating AI, and I agree with Mr. Mannion fully, who said that we that AI can support and not supplant teachers. And in fact, we had a great story from Mr. Chisholm about a teacher who was going to retire because, of all the hours that put in grading, and that AI was able to entice her to stay in the classroom because it allowed her to focus on the aspects of teaching that she loved and that made the biggest difference. Another theme I think we heard today that I agree with is that there is a pressing need for more research when it comes to how AI is being deployed and the ways in which it can be deployed most effectively, what modalities are most effective, what parts of the traditional lesson plan it's best incorporated into. And as in all things in education, it's best when we have measurable outcomes and then can let that guide our pedagogy going forward. Ms. Rafelbehr has noted about everything going on at the state level in terms of research. I think that there perhaps is a federal role here as well, at least for the sort of thing we're doing today, for coordination, for sharing best practices. I think Ms. Rafelbehr mentioned having a summit of some kind, which I think is a great idea. And then you also mentioned, Ms. Rafelbehr, the importance of local engagement as well, with stakeholders, with parents, with the community, because there's the question of efficacy that research can answer, but there's also the question of values, that making sure that these technologies are being integrated in classrooms in ways that are consonant with the values of the surrounding community. This is actually a topic that is broadly applicable to AI in many facets of society. Actually, in 2018, I was a member of the California legislature. I sponsored a resolution about the benefits of AI, but how we needed to make sure it was consistent with human values as the adoption spread. And so education provides a very important example of that. We've talked today about, Ms. Moat mentioned the idea of keeping humans in the loop, which I think is a useful concept, and how there really still is no replacement for human interaction in many domains in society and many parts of our lives. And that's probably true most of all when it comes to education, given the formative nature of education for young people. We also talked about values related to data and privacy, which Ms. Miller, among others, mentioned. And then sort of both sides gave different takes on the question of bias and how we need to make sure that there are safeguards in place so that there is not bias incorporated as we use AI tools. But finally, I think that perhaps the biggest takeaway from the specific perspective of education policy today is the enormous potential that AI has to expand opportunity, to close achievement gaps, to democratize access to the very best instruction. We, for too long in this country, have had these terrible achievement gaps where opportunity is a product of where you live and where you grow up. In my view, that's a result of poor policy choices that have been made over the course course of many years and decades. Perhaps not all of my colleagues will agree with me on that, but I would hope that we can find some common ground on this issue, that we should all be excited about tools that allow for instruction to be tailored in an individualized way. Several people, including Ms. Miller and Mr. Thompson, mentioned the unique potential to assist students with special needs in this area, and the ability to have this individualized instruction that is, mindful of a student's strengths and weaknesses, the prior knowledge that they bring to bear, their interests even, has extraordinary potential. And I want to thank Mr. Dobrin as well for his discussion of how all of this can also democratize access to the sort of skills that are successful, that are needed for success in the workplace. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you for some who endured long travels to be here. And I think it was a great hearing and look forward to continuing this conversation going forward. The subcommittee stands adjourned.